Laugh. Ha ha. I'm getting started a little late today. I mean, it's a Monday. Somebody's got a case of the Mondays. Dang. I've been getting a lot of stuff done, and that's good. You know, that's good. Um, I'm trying to get my act together, so I tell you what. Ah, lately I feel so slow. All right, I don't want. I've been playing around with the Wally Wood pen for another project, and it's been a lot of fun. Okay, so here we go. Now I've got my foreground kind of done, and kind of working on my protagonists here in the background, or in the midground, really. And dang, and it really is a matter of, let me get her insect parts together. Getting your act together. That shoulder was missing. Okay, let's take a look at her without the interference. Interference lines. Oh, she's got these sort of interesting kind of square pad looking things on her boots. Her wings are translucent. All right. That's a good start, isn't it? Although she's just sort of floating there in a big blank white space. All right. Now what do we do? Well, we got to do the other guy. The other guy. Here he is. With his oil slick head. Now it's likely that this cyborg or robot or whatever he is doesn't see Centaur as a threat just yet. As a fellow robot, or maybe he does, but he's just a valet. Like he's in the world of this story. Ugh. In the world of this story, he's like a valet or a butler or even just like a servant. Like the way he got the learn adapt mode. And I told a little bit, I just kind of mentioned that he was on a labor crew, a maintenance crew or something like that, and he just needed an emergency. They just need an extra pair of hands to help build something, I think, is the idea I was going to go for. So this particular model is not known to be particularly formidable. But what you find out when you got learn adapt mode on is you can do a lot. All right, now he's got to be holding the piece of Duralloy. It's very important in the story that he's holding this piece of Duralloy, and he's holding it, I think he had it in his left hand. He no longer has the parasol, which would have been useless. Where is it? Oh, it's on the same page here. He's got it right here. He's got it in his... No, it's in his right hand. If I'm holding it like this, that's my right hand. And maybe he's gesturing as he's talking. No, I'm not doing a great job with line weights right here, so I'm going to rethink some of this. Or maybe I'll just redraw those fingers. This finger is a problem right here, isn't it? Isn't it? I started following this one guy, and I can't remember his name. But I saw him on Instagram, and he's really into Adobe Fresco, like he's really promoting it. But I really like his art style. I don't know, I'll consider it. Procreate, I mean, he's definitely an iPad user like me, but it's like he sort of adapted away. But he's also at a much more pro level. I'll post what his channel is if I can figure out what it is. I watched a bunch of his videos today. Oh, okay, that's a beginning. Let's take away the pencils again. All right, we're getting somewhere. So by now you can probably figure out how I'm doing a lot of this stuff. I draw very loosely. One might say very sloppily. But they really are just roughs. They're roughs, I swear. And then once I get to the ink layer, then I'm like, okay, now I gotta really like kind of knuckle down and concentrate. All right, now one problem is, let's bring the pencils back for a second. I don't have the piece of Duralloy, the conduit, in the picture. So let's see if we can get it in there and make sure that it matches the angle I already drew the hand at. Oh, there's a little pro tip for you. Kind of a cheat. Draw the hand first, then draw the object in the hand. All right. I think it would be kind of focused this way. And let's take a look at this piece of Duralloy. It's got a curve and it's got like kind of a knot on the end, like a mace. So let's kind of fix that in there. I want it to match. Yeah, just a curve and then a knot, and then it has kind of a piece on the end right there like that. Okay. This panel is also going to rely on a lot of light and shadow. I wouldn't be I know it should probably get done today, but I wouldn't be surprised if it takes till tomorrow. Oh, quick announcement. Yeah, we're about to open the polls for the very next. The 9-volt is done. The quick announcement about the 9-volt. Final story got turned in. Our cover fell through. Windblock, if you're out there, let me know. We could still use anything you got. We'll put it in. We'll put it in. You know, near the end, or as one of the inside covers or something like that. But we've got a deadline to hit, so I'm going ahead and we're gonna get another cover set up, and you're still welcome to be part of this if you want to. I just probably need you to hang out more. It's one of those things. But we're gonna open up the polls and let people vote on what the new subject will be. I can tell you the one that I would like to do is Oz. So we want to do an Oz themed anthology. And you know, the way I kind of manage the anthologies is I want them to be kind of interpretive. You know, if we say something like fantasy, it's your interpretation of fantasy. There are some guidelines that we don't want to go beyond. We're PG-13, and you know, there's a couple other things. We don't want to get into anything preachy or activist in our stuff. And you can do a lot with PG-13. My interpretation of PG-13, the one that I use as an editor, is up to and including Raiders of the Lost Ark, the face melting scene. That's not too far. Now, what about the curse words? I need the curse words. Well, you can't curse. I don't like that. I think it goes a bit too far. But you can Beetle Bailey all you want. You can do Mickey Mouse can do it. You know, he can go. You know, right? You can do that all you want. And I swear to you, there are some Mickey Mouse comics where, and these are from the 30s too, then they're great. Mickey says something like, "Get in that blank car." Or Goofy will say something to Mickey like, "I was trying to help you, but the blanking airplane wouldn't, you know, right itself," or something. You can go pretty far with those. Nobody needs to. It's actually, in my opinion, it's just better. It's just a better way of doing things. You never impress anybody with the actual curse words. You remember when South Park originally came out and they would just bleep the words? And then they stopped bleeping them, but it was less funny. The bleeping was actually kind of fun. All right, hang on. We're going to try and get this piece of conduit drawn. And we've never had a problem, really, with our book. By just following that kind of simple step. Works fine. And our subject matter is all, you know, this is a comic that's going to be about adventures and stuff like that. So we avoid all the, don't do political stuff, we don't want to hear about your activism or your mental health issues, whatever the hell you got going on. Leave it. It's not for this. All right. Okay. There we go. And there we go. Oh, and last night? No, night before last. Must have been Saturday night. I finished Camelot 3000, which is the most British comic book ever made, other than when it was actually made in Britain. So it's actually a DC comic called Camelot 3000. It's Brian Boland's first US work, or whatever it was. And it's kind of It's like early 90s, might even be late 80s. I'll have to look it up. I think it's early 90s. Well, it might be late 80s. But the premise here is that it's the, I don't know, the 31st century or something, and the, the Earth is um, under assault by aliens, and a futuristic um, young archaeologist on the run um, manages to somehow reawaken the King Arthur from Glastonbury tour, and then it reincarnates several of the Knights of the Round Table. It has every joke is British in this. So it even has like the world presidents or whatever it is. There's four of them, and the one from the U.S. is like he wears a red, white, and blue striped tuxedo and a cowboy hat, and he always has a cigar. And and he lives in a bunker, and somebody's always like trying to kill him, like throwing bombs at him or whatever. And he's like, "We got another impeachment vote." It's like, this was totally meant to be 2000 AD. This is totally meant for like a 2000 AD comic, like Strontium Dog or something like that. I don't know why it wasn't just published in that. Because what they did is they eventually sold it to DC. I think they even pitched it to Marvel. And with DC, they already have a 31st century. It's the Legion of Superheroes, right? That's a completely different thing. So they kind of put it in its own continuity at DC and did a whole, I don't know, 12 issue miniseries or something. I got it as a $5 for the entire run of the story graphic novel on Kindle. I get everything on Kindle Fire. And I did enjoy it, but there's everything in it. Even the art, like even the drawings of the people. And like if they had done it at Marvel, it would have conflicted not with, they don't have a Legion of Superheroes, but they have a Guardians of the Galaxy that takes place in that future era where the Earth is being attacked and depopulated by aliens, and I think it would have went smack dab into the middle of that continuity if they had done it at Marvel. I wonder why 2000 AD passed on it. They must have tried, and that might have been just right when the comics were going bust in the 90s, maybe. All right, let's take a look at it without the pencils. I don't think we even need the pencils anymore because we've kind of got all the figures that were penciled in, but we still have the backgrounds to draw. Oh, so let's draw some backgrounds. And we're going to have her tail glows like a firefly. So if you're curious about doing ink hatching, I'm not going to say I'm great at it. The guy who's great at it is Rocket Ship Evan Hill. Taught me everything I need. Well, he tried to. I'm not a great student. But the ink, the hatch needs to taper towards the light. So we're heading towards the light, and this is going to be the light. I was thinking of also using her antennas as lights. And not only that, Scimitar has kind of flashlight vision, so he's got lights too. So what we can do, now I might do this on another layer just so we can, if we mess it up, we can just go and take it back off and put it back on again, you know. So let's make sure we're using thin lines for the background. There's more of this trash on the floor. As established here. In fact, if we were wanting to have a lot of fun, no, I couldn't do it. I was wondering if maybe we could have a guy kind of lurking just offhand, maybe a hand right here. That would be a total EC flex. Like, can you imagine? This is a fake. We put a hand right here. Maybe a claw. But I think the claw would not be distinct enough for us to tell what was going on with the gun, so let's take it back out. Oop. Let's get back to inking. So we have all kinds of options. All right. What am I at? 21 minutes. And this panel might get finished off camera. I could see myself getting into really doing the tones for a while on it because it's going to be it's a big panel. And I got a pretty cool commission to design a thing for a role-playing game. And I spent most of my after work time doing just now. Let's remove anything that sticks out over the panel border. Oh, and this light is going to create a shadow on this wall right here of him. But I've got to give... this is why I'm not going to be able to do this today, because I also haven't come up with a dialogue yet that's going to be in this panel. So Princess Luminar is still going to be basically thinking about herself. And she does. That was not what I wanted to do. He's going to be talking about the piece of duralloy he just found. Now that's and that. So, like I said, every story is a fractal. You know, every panel is a fractal of the page, and every page is a fractal of the greater story. And in particular, this panel exists because he's going to be explaining how duralloy is such a great, lightweight, and yet strong metal, right? Because this ends up being his weapon until he forges it into a sword. So I want everybody to know what that really means. So we can't pass that opportunity up. We give him a chance to talk about his weapon before he even knows it's a weapon. Oops. Alright, so it's just about good enough for now. Her light here. We're going to put a back shadow there. Let's put some pebbles on the ground. And then another way that we can, another way, Another way that we can texture some of these walls is we're going to use some stippling. So let me do that, and that'll be it for right now. Let's see. I have this thing called the Stipple Studio, and I have many choices. The one I want is Bleedy Pressure Scatter Sparse. So it look a little bit more rocky to you. We put some rocks on the back wall too, but you just got to make sure that they're much smaller. I'm going to be experimenting with more textures in the future. Because, let me show you what I've been doing. This is it for the comics right now. I got into these digital gouache brushes, so this is pretty cool. And this is kind of like, I mean, these are just kind of like goofy hip-hop drawings. They're done really quickly. But if you look real quickly, it's got this kind of spray bright and then spray dark. And then you go over the top with sort of a black line. And that's what I'm using the Wally Wood pen for. It may not be that impressive to you right now. But, like here, this is an idea. If I were to do Nosferatu as an animation or a, maybe if I revisited the newspaper idea, I still want to do it. I still want to do the tabloid. I might try this digital gouache thing. I'm using Retro Supplies gouache brushes. Here's the Adam Frankenstein one. Looks like a little golden book. And then I even did a rabbit fighter. And 3/4 of the let me pop this up. 3/4 of the Scarab Force. So Moonstone, Jade, Garnet. The only one missing is Onyx, which I might do at a future date. But it does. It's real simple, and it looks good, and it's in color. And although color is not in my design plan for the tabloid, I mean, it could be. I did the first one in color. It's just more expensive. All right. Well, anyways, that's enough for right now. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and I will see you later.